Alex, thanks for joining us. Disappointment in the result, disappointment of course that you can't qualify, but you saw some positives.
Yeah, it depends what you look at from the game. If you're looking at it in terms of qualification now being out the window and losing the game, if it's based on the scoreline, of course it's disappointing and frustrating in equal measure. If anybody's looking at it in a balanced and measured way and they want to try and assess it on performance, then there's lots to be positive about in terms of the second half from 50 through to 75 whenever they scored. Produced some really good football, some good attacking entries, and we've just counted in there. We had 8 good opportunities in that 20-minute period to score, and we couldn't and we didn't. And their first opportunity, Nevitt comes up the other end of the pitch and is clinical, and the game's full of fine margins, isn't it? It's not a sob story, it's not a hard luck story, it's just facts, isn't it? We were the better team during that whole period, during the second half, leading up to the goal. The first half was quite balanced, but weren't able to take our opportunities, and goals change games, don't they? That horrible old cliche that everybody's sick of hearing, but it certainly doesn't. Yes, they had opportunities after Nevitt scored to extend the lead, but that's because we're chasing the game as well, and we ran out of legs and spark after that. They had obviously some of their substitutes entering the game during that period, which gave them a little bit more legs, and we got the likes of Joel Tabber and Charlie Finney, who've invested a lot of physical energy into the game, and on to quite the stage from 75 onwards where they can finish the game as strong as they started, but that'll come with those boys. So yeah, going back to the original question, it depends how you look at it. Some negatives in terms of result and being out of the tournament, some positives in terms of what we saw with the quality of football and spells of the game and some performances.
What about the system change? How do you think it worked?
Thought it worked well in terms of what we wanted from it. We need to get higher up the pitch with the ball more often, don't we? And we certainly did do that. The ripple effect from that is you're going to get caught on transitions and the game's going to be much more open, and we're going to concede more goals, and there's going to be more 3v3s, 2v2s at the other end of the pitch, and we're going to be more stretched, all of those things. But it's certainly worth risking and worth doing if it's going to allow us to have more attacking intent, because without that attacking intent we're not going to score enough goals. But we've got to have those people up at the top end of the pitch being far more clinical, because that's what they're in the team to do, and there's got to be accountability for that.
Obviously you're not going to reveal too much because you never know what Doncaster are picking up. They might have had somebody here or whatever, but was it in mind that it's something that you could think about for the future? Yeah,
absolutely. We always do things within mind for what might come beyond that, rather than it just being a one-off. Of course, different levels of opposition provide different challenges, so that does come into your thinking, but predominantly when we're ever playing at home now, it's got to be a situation whereby we determine what we play based on what suits us, and certainly away from home in many games as well. We haven't got a clue what Doncaster will play Saturday in terms of shape and personnel, which is obviously as a byproduct of the fact that they're changing manager. So that's going to be something that we'll only find out when that first whistle's blown, and we'll have to adapt accordingly.
But yeah, but when that game does come, actually, you are at home. It's all about you and your preparation between now and Saturday, and being out on the pitch and taking the game to them. Forget what they're going to come up with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really hope everybody judges, by everybody I mean us all, judges what we're doing on how it's looking out there performance-wise, as well as obviously scoreline-wise. We're going to have scorelines going against us this year. Of course we are. But as long as there's evidence in terms of the way we're progressively playing, leading in towards improvement and results as a byproduct of that, getting better and better, then we're going to be happy. As always, it takes patience, it takes time, and I'm going to have to stand there on the touchline with belly, with gritted teeth sometimes when things go against us. But those gritted teeth will only be in frustration at what may be going against us in terms of score lines, hopefully not in terms of performances, because we're going to take those performance levels into better and better standards. And obviously there's players on that pitch who've entered the reckoning over the last few weeks who have certainly helped us to try and obviously produce a better brand of football.
Just a word on Ron McDonald. I know it's early for you to make a judgment, but fingers crossed you're going to be okay with a couple of days treatment here and there.
Yeah, he knows his body well enough to have come off the pitch. We'd have brought him off anyway, but he went down with the aim of obviously ensuring that he was going to be treated and then brought off. He just felt a little bit of cramp in the same area that he had against Grimsby, but he carried on against Grimsby, and obviously led to him missing a couple of games. So he didn't make that same mistake twice. He knows his body at his age, and no, he'll be fine.